Morning, this is Brian. Today is Monday, October 24th, 2022, and I'm in an old familiar haunt, a place I've missed visiting over the last several months. I'm in Angeles National Forest. I'm on my way to visit my friend Brett and pick him up and do our adventures this week because I'm on vacation, but on the way to his house, since I have a long drive from Santee to California City in Kern County, I figured I kind of wanted to stop off for a few minutes and see what the scene is like here in the Big Pines area. So I'm in the Angeles National Forest, good old San Gabriel Mountains, and it feels really good. This is just a little short stop off before I continue heading on to my friend's house. If any of this looks familiar, I've filmed in this area before. Back in 2020, I did a couple spotlight videos in this area and shot just a little short adventure video. And that was back in August of 2020. Did a spotlight on California black oak, Quercus kelloggii. So the fall color is a little later to show this year. I think it's because of the mild temperatures, especially in the mountains. Where I live, it's actually been seasonal to a little bit below seasonal averages in my neck of the woods. But just wanted to do a quick stop off in the San Gabriel Mountains before I move on. Just kind of miss these, really badly miss these mountains, I should say. I kind of just had a craving to see some big trees. In this area in the Angeles National Forest features some of the larger specimens of trees growing. There's a reason why they call it big pines. Well, they're big pines. Over here, I just remember taking this little trail. I'm not going to go a super far distance because I do want to link up with my friend fairly soon, but just had to stop off here for a few minutes. Just enjoy the beautiful trees, like the good old incense cedar, Calosages decurrens, of course, Jeffreyi pines, one of the most common coniferous tree here in Southern California. So it's just kind of a good feeling to hang out in my old stomping grounds for a short stint. It's a nice chilly morning out here in the San Gabriel Mountains. Here's a combination you don't typically expect to see. Well, this right here is broadleaf California Fuschia. This is Epilobium canum subspecies latifolium. Its leaves are changing color because it's a perennial that goes dormant in the winter. So the leaf color is changing to like a reddish purple, and it still has the beautiful blossoms on it. So this is Epilobium canum subspecies latifolium. Fairly common find here in the San Gabriel Mountains. And of course, Quercus kelloggii. This time last year, I remember a lot of these trees were already fully colored because I was in the San Gabriel Mountains on this exact date last year, October 24th. So I did a hike up to Mount Peltier, aka Peak 7,473 or something like that. It's one of the peaks near Table Mountain. I got my car on Big Pines Highway, N2. So let's see. One thing I've been really craving since moving to San Diego County and not getting out this way, sugar pines. I miss sugar pines. Really hardcore. I miss them. Haven't been near them. I know they do grow in San Diego County, but I haven't been where they are. So I'm about to come up to a pretty decent sized one right now. Probably 150 foot. Oh man, do I miss these trees. I miss sugar pines so much. Yeah, I miss these trees so much. Like I said, they do grow right near the summit of Cuyamaca Peak. They do grow there. I've seen them there. I've hiked up to Cuyamaca years ago. It's just, there are no really huge ones there. A lot of the huge ones that used to grow in Cuyamaca were decimated by the fire. But this is always one of my favorite trees to see while I'm out here. And like I pointed out in the other video I did here, that's that blue cut. That's that blue cut San Andreas Rift area. So there's just, this place has always been magical, the San Gabriel Mountains, and you've seen my videos where I just can't stop yapping about them. Well, there's a reason why. It's a magical place. Beautiful sugar pine. Gosh, do I miss these trees so much. I don't think I'm going to be around too many of them this week, because right now my plans are, my vacation plans are actually going to be mostly in Santa Barbara County. I'm actually planning on heading out that way to check it out. I've never been to Santa Barbara County, so this will be a new experience for me coming up. Spending 2 nights in Santa Barbara. Planning on checking out some of the Los Padres National Forest over that way. Man, do I miss being around these trees. I miss them so much. I miss being in the tall forest. I mean, Mount Laguna is beautiful. Mount Laguna is an awesome place. They even have more black oak coverage there. Black oaks are almost equal in quantity with the Jeffreyi pine, so it's a mixed oak and conifer forest there. But the trees here around Big Pines get much larger. I noticed a lot of giant sequoia trees planted around here. I wonder if they're naturalizing. There are actually several young giant sequoias planted around here, but look at these younger Jeffreyi pines, all lofty and narrow. Oh, beautiful sugar pines. Oh man, it feels so good to be around sugar pines again. I mean, they're just such awesome trees, and I truly enjoy being around them. And look what we have here. We got a scalar willow right here. Salix scalariana. Just changing color for fall. Very similar looking to the Arroyo Willow, but scalar willows tend to be much more upright and sometimes get to be quite tall. They're typically shrubs, multi-trunk shrubs like Arroyo willows, but they tend to have even more of an upright pose. Oh man, look at those sugar pines. Those are just such awesome trees. And here's this big tree. I suspect this is actually a Pacific ponderosa. I mean, I'm not going to try to scramble down this duff to have to scramble back up it, but the cone size, I see a lot of cones on the ground underneath. Yeah, this appears to be a Pacific ponderosa pine. I know I pointed this out in that other video back in 2020, but a decent sized tree right here. Probably at least 160 feet tall. Yeah. But yeah, we are getting some black oak leaf change, especially on the smaller ones. I suspect the ones that are out in the sun more probably are coloring a little bit more. But yeah, what a magical place. Magical place this is. I miss being here so much. It took me probably, I'd say about 2.5 hours to get here from Santee in San Diego County. It took me close to 2 hours. Yeah, about 2 hours. Maybe about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So that's why I don't make it out here very much, because of that, and the gas prices are just out of control. But yeah, I do miss this area so much. So I had to get out here and film and get some footage. Just get out here for a few minutes and poke around before I finish making my drive up to California City. So yeah, plans are tonight my friend and I are going to be staying in Gorman, or Lebec actually. Lebec and Gorman are next to each other. We're going to stay there, and then maybe shuffle around either the San Gabriel Mountains, maybe close to Liebre or something like that. Probably do a short little stint over there, and then we're going to migrate towards Santa Barbara County, where we're going to spend the next 2 nights, Tuesday night and Wednesday night, in Santa Barbara. I'm thinking maybe checking out places like Pinaceae, Mission State Park, maybe see some bishop pines over there. Yes, I love state historic parks just like anybody else, but of course there's a botanical motive behind most of my trips. My motives are quite botanical in that aspect. I want to see bishop pines. I've never seen a bishop pine. I've seen their 2 relatives, knobcone and Monterey pine, but I've never seen a bishop pine before. Never seen a bishop pine, so I'm hoping to see one tomorrow or Wednesday at some point. I really want to see a bishop pine and do a spotlight video on it naturally. But right now I'm just enjoying some old fan favorites. Me being the fan, of course. Pinus lambertiana, the breathtaking sugar pine. A tree I can never, ever, ever, ever get enough of. Look at this young, vigorous one right here. Just beautiful trees. They're just so addicting to look at and be around. I've even had a couple sugar pine seedlings before. Didn't get very far. But it's just so nice to be around these trees. Looks like this one's got a little fire scar on it. Must have been a light brush fire around here probably years ago. Doesn't look like anything recent. But of course, the Jeffreyi pines. But when I'm here, just love getting the old feeling. There are some decent white firs around here too. Abies concolor. I know there's some decent sized white firs around here. Right around where I walked off the highway to start going up this old dirt track, there are a couple of pretty large white firs. Now, anybody who's watched enough of my videos over the last couple of years know that I've kind of swung back and forth about what variety of white fir grows here in Southern California. Rocky Mountain white fir, like Ronald Lanner. No, I'm sorry. Rocky Mountain White Fir, like Michael Kaufman, conifer expert, denotes it as Rocky Mountain White Fir from the Tehachapi Mountains into northern Baja California, including the New York mountain population around there, around Carruthers Canyon, Fir Canyon. Lumping them all together as Abies concolor variety concolor, the Rocky Mountain White Fir. And then other conifer experts disagree, calling our white fir Abies concolor variety lowiana, the same race of white fir that grows up along the spine of the Sierras. And then there's also disagreement about what type of white firs grow in the Mojave National Preserve near the New York mountains. To me, I'd have to think that those are probably Rocky Mountain white firs. If we're still subscribing to the belief that white fir should be divided into races or varieties, there are also people who just label it Abies concolor. So there is a lot of disagreement over the taxonomy of white fir, and some people even consider Abies concolor variety lowiana, the Sierra Nevada white fir, as just Abies lowiana. So that means there'd be two species of white fir as opposed to two varieties. So I've been swinging back and forth. In fact, back in May of 2020, I was in the San Bernardino Mountains near the Champion Lodgepole Trailhead. Well, I was doing a hike the opposite direction up to a very random peak, and I did a spotlight on a white fir over there in the San Bernardino Mountains, and I called it Abies concolor variety concolor in the video. Now, sometimes I still get kind of tripped up, or actually I do all the time, thinking about, okay, what do I want to go with? See, I did a spotlight on white fir in the San Bernardinos as a Rocky Mountain race, and then I did a spotlight on Breckenridge Mountain in Kern County, which would be most likely to house Abies concolor variety lowiana, and did a spotlight on Abies concolor variety lowiana there. So it's kind of interesting. And I was looking at another range map for the Abies concolor as a total, and the range map, I think this was on Wikipedia. I think it was on Wikipedia or some other site. Oh no, it might have been another site. Wikipedia, sometimes you got to take it with a grain of salt. Well, my video is about to cut out, so I'm going to go see you in clip number 2, and I'll finish what I was talking about. I hate when that happens. Hello, this is Brian again. Welcome to clip number 2 of my short Big Pines walkabout. So, clip 1 ended off with me talking about the different races of white firs. And I do take a lot of stock into what the botanists say, especially the conifer experts like Ronald Lanner, who believes that Southern California's white firs are the same as the Sierra Nevada white firs, being Abies concolor variety lowiana. Michael Kaufman believes that our white firs from the Tehachapi Mountains to Baja are Abies concolor variety concolor and related to the Rocky Mountain race. Some botanists consider the Sierra white fir just to be a separate species as Abies lowiana, and it would mean the Rocky Mountain white fir would be just Abies concolor. And then other people just lump Abies concolor, no matter what variety, what race, what geographical stand, all together from California to the Rocky Mountains as Abies concolor. So, whom to believe? Now, I mentioned that I was doing spotlight videos in the San Bernardino Mountains as Abies concolor variety concolor, according to Michael Kaufman, as a Rocky Mountain White Fir. And I did a spotlight in Breckenridge Mountain in Kern County in the Sequoia National Forest as Abies concolor variety Lowiana, which Abies concolor variety Lowiana would be the tree that goes up from that portion of Sequoia National Forest up through the Sierra Nevada. So I've been going back and forth, because we have populations of white fir, obviously, here in the San Gabriel, San Bernardino Mountains, some of the mountains in Santa Barbara, Ventura County, Kern County, San Bernardino, San Diego County, Riverside County, and into the Sierra de San Pedro Martir in Baja California. So yes, white fir definitely has a very confusing taxonomy. So, and of course, we also have them in the Mojave National Preserve over by the New York mountains. So, where do I stand with it? Well, my thinking is starting to come more into line along Ronald Lander. Ronald Lander is also the guy who discussed the controversy of Pinus quadrifolia and Pinus juarezzensis. And you can check out a video I did on the peripinion Pinus quadrifolia and its taxonomical confusion as one of my spotlight videos from May at Mount Laguna. If you want to see a little more in depth about that interesting taxonomical debacle. But we're here. So again, we do have a very large separation between the white firs here in the southwestern California ranges and the white firs in the Mojave National Preserve. My belief, or my credence, is starting to lend a little more towards the trees here in the San Gabriels, the San Bernardinos, Los Padres National Forest, the San Diego County Mountains, and in northern Baja. I'm beginning to think that they are more of the Sierra white fir. And if that's 100% true, these would be Abies concolor variety Lowiana. And probably the Rocky Mountain white fir would be the one present in the Mojave National Preserve. It's kind of interesting to think about white fir trees in the Mojave Desert, but there are some high canyons above 6,000 feet, north-facing slope canyons that have held on to a population of white firs during the big drying out period of Southern California. So, yeah, apparently white firs grow in the desert, kind of. Of course, it's higher up, it's wetter, and it's, you know, got a lot of pinyon pine and stuff like that up there too. But I'm beginning to believe that our white firs here in southwestern California, you know, especially here in the San Bernardino Mountains, are going to be your Lowiana white firs. So I might eventually do a redo spotlight. One thing to consider is I was looking at a range map. And this is kind of where the video was going to cut off because the battery power was almost empty. I went and looked at a range map for white fir. It has both variety concolor, the Rocky Mountain, and variety Lowiana, the Sierra/California white fir. And one color was the Sierra white fir on the range map. The other one was for the Rocky Mountain white fir. Interestingly enough, the Rocky Mountain white fir had one specific color, and it was, you know, all over the Rocky Mountain states. And I believe in the New York mountains, I think, I have to go back over that. And then one spot was in, one area was over the Sierra Nevada as the another color, the color of the Lowiana white fir, the Sierra white fir. So I was looking at the Southern California range map from Tehachapi, the Tehachapi Mountains, down to northern Baja, and the color was kind of intermediate. It was closer to the color of the Lowiana variety, but it was kind of an intermediate, lighter version of that color. So it's kind of interesting. Again, the disagreement over botanists is kind of interesting, and it makes for very interesting topics of discussion among botanically minded people. But let's get one thing straight. Regardless of what kind of white firs we have, it's just hard to deny. To me, it's impossible to deny how amazing these trees are. These trees are absolutely stunning and adds a nice level of variety to our mountainscape, because most of our mountains have pines. Most of our mountains are covered in pines, but there are areas where white fir, and of course areas where big-cone Douglas fir up the ante in the Pinaceae variety. Pinaceae being the pine family, and this genus Pinus, pines, is the most common coniferous tree growing in Southern California by far. Here we don't have spruces, we don't have hemlocks, we don't have larches here in Southern California growing native. And so basically our Pinaceae here is Pinus and Abies and Pseudotsuga for Pseudotsuga macrocarpa, the big-cone Douglas fir. So we do have variety, but we're lucky that we do have white fir, and we do have a climate that is good enough to support some nice pockets of it. So it's something to be very appreciated. Of course, the furthest reaches of Southern California, and my definition of Southern California is from San Diego, Imperial counties, up to San Bernardino, Kern counties, and maybe San Luis Obispo, maybe. But I consider Kern County is Southern California. And in far northern Kern County is the red fir, Abies magnifica, and it's probably the Critchfield Red Fir too, I would imagine. So we do have another Abies way up there, but Abies concolor, the magical white fir. I am again starting to lean towards ours being Abies concolor variety Lowiana, and I don't know if I'm gonna redo any spotlight videos, but I might do ode videos in the future. I really want to think about this, maybe even try to do some more research, maybe see if I can get in touch with some botanists that might be able to shed a little more light on this, is whether we have just white fir, Rocky Mountain white fir, Sierra white fir, or is it Abies concolor, Abies concolor variety concolor, Abies concolor variety Lowiana, or Abies Lowiana. So the more research I do on that, the more I will be able to speak on it, being a very curious member of the amateur botanist community. But let's take some time to appreciate these Arroyo Willows here changing color right now. See, in the lowlands where I live, they're all green, but up here they more reliably change color. So this is a Salix lanceolipus right here, changing a nice golden yellow. Beautiful trees. Or, well, these are more shrubs, but who cares? Who really cares? Shrub or tree, I like them equally. So Yeah, I just felt like it was time for a dissertation on trees and shrubs. I felt like I had to come out here and yap about it. We also got creek dogwood here too. Yes, not really changing much for fall over here. I'm kind of surprised. Yeah, this is Cornus sericea, subspecies occidentalis. I think Cornus sericea, subspecies sericea, might be found here too. Might be found in Southern California, but I'm not 100% sure about that. And that's something I want to do a little more research on before I do a spotlight video on creek dogwood. It's also called Redosier Dogwood. It used to be known as Cornus stolonifera. Long time ago. But yeah. Well, they did, a lot of the weather people predicted that it was going to be a less than stellar fall color year because of the drought. And well, the plants near water usually are more reliable because unless that area is completely dried out, they're not quite as affected. They probably will be to a certain extent, but yeah, fall color probably won't be as good as it was last year. For some reason, last year up here, I did that video on Mount Peltier. The leaf colors were insane on the oaks. And even I'm kind of surprised that the western chokecherry hasn't changed really much here either. This is Prunus virginiana variety demissa. But regardless, this is a place I highly treasure. Really love these mountains so much. Love being around the big trees. I miss being around the bigger pines. So it's just kind of a bit of nostalgia. And of course, Rosa californica, California rose. Yep, see it at a couple hundred feet above sea level where I live in Santee. And it's up here, we're probably about 6,550 feet right here. And we're about 6,550 feet. We're just underneath big pines. So it looks like it's about time for me to head back to my car. But